City Council did hold a study session on the ordinance, and it was productive. And it's our hopes now that following the study session, we'll begin to trying to enact real solutions that can really improve the quality of life for residents throughout the area. So I'm hopeful. I haven't given up in any capacity. I'm very hopeful, and I think we can get it done. Ultimately, it's a vote on an ordinance. Is what we'd like for the City Council to do. And it might not be the ordinance that was submitted. It might be an amended version of that ordinance. It might be new ideas that come up during conversation or debating that ordinance. And I can tell you that the coalition is open and ready to work with City Council, partner with City Council, so that we can improve the lives of residents throughout the whole city. I think before we get to a position where we vote on a 45-cent gas tax, which is a very large increase, we have to explore all of our options. We have to talk about many fixes that have yet to even be discerned or approached. For example, as it pertains to the current road funding money we have now, the way the formula divides up the money is every road gets the equal amount of money. Whether you're a 2-lane highway up north or a 4-lane highway in southeast Michigan, you get the same amount of money. And I think that's one of the major problems. If we appropriated the money equitably, so that the roads that had more drivers on it, larger trucks, more lane highways, received more money. I think that's one approach we can do. Secondly, we should talk about making sure that the trucks, which are damaging our roads mostly, are paying their fair share. There are ways to have heavy truck mileage taxes. We should look at how we construct our roads, making sure that we have language that holds those that build our roads accountable, but also making sure that we're investing in building our roads to last and not just trying to patch a pothole for 1 year. We have over 6 resolutions and bills signed into law. One of our bills was actually won the Public Health Award by the state of Michigan. It was a bipartisan coalition that came together to improve protections and to improve the science and testing and protocol surrounding those who live with HIV, to make sure that we're not criminalizing it, to make sure that we are applying the latest of technology, the latest research. We have another bill that updates guidelines, healthcare guidelines for some other chronic diseases, and several resolutions that we've enacted, that recognize, the American Heritage Month, with one of the first times enacted that. And more than just signing bills and resolutions, we've also been big winners in the budget. We've brought back over $10 million new dollars to the city of Dearborn. Everything from $500,000 new dollars to this Arab American National Museum that we're in now, $500,000 to the Henry Ford. We brought back over $6 million for the Henry Ford College to build a new entrepreneurship and innovation institute, increased funding for Dearborn Public Schools on a per student basis, $100,000 in partnership with the city to help build kayaking in the Rouge River. So I've never compared myself to those who've come before me. We've had many great state reps come before me, and I would never take anything away from what they've done. As it pertains to what we've been able to accomplish, I'm the type that always wants to do more. So I'd never give myself a perfect score. I'd always say that there's so much more to be done, and that's our focus. It's great that we got some bills, resolutions enacted, that we brought back some funding to the city, but there are more projects, there are more things we'd like to see funding, there's more resources we'd like to bring back to the community. I think the number one thing I've learned is it doesn't matter how smart you are. What matters in Lansing is the relationships that you build. Those are the most important. Just last week, the Speaker of the House, Lee Chatfield, reached out, and I was able to take him and his children out to the dessert over at Shatila and have conversation, but it's that bipartisan conversation that leads to a lot of fruitful results for the entirety of the state. Yeah, I think ultimately, if I can look back at my tenure in the House and identify things that helped improve the lives of Dearborn residents, that is ultimately success, as I would define it. Leaving the office better than when I first got there, making sure that we did something with the time that we had to enact positive change, and also to inspire that next generation of youth to not reach any heights that we've attained, but to surpass you and I, to surpass anything we've ever done, to be bigger and better. I do my best to build bridges where you can. The reality is you cannot build a bridge with those who are willfully ignorant, unfortunately. For those who choose to measure you based on stereotypes and misconceived notions of who you are, based on the way that you pray, based on your faith, your race, ethnicity, unfortunately, sometimes there is no way to work with those individuals. However, regardless of whatever any individual has told me in the State House, and both Democrats and Republicans, this is not an issue confined to one side of the aisle. I always remember that I need 56 votes to pass something out of the House. I need about 20 votes to pass something out of the Senate. So regardless of what anybody tells me, I don't fire back in those instances because I need their votes at one point or another to hopefully enact change throughout the state and through our community. And so it's a relationship that you ultimately need to lean on. Whether it's you leaning on it directly or finding the right stakeholders, the right people to help apply pressure to get that vote. And that's what I always keep in mind, it's bigger than me. You know, my message for the community is to stay engaged. The more the community is engaged, the more pressure they apply to me, to all electeds, the more town halls they attend, the more community conversations they attend, the more rallies they hold. That's how they build political capital and apply political pressure to make sure that their electeds are representing them the way they want to be represented.